Well, good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again on X. It's at green_Jericho. On Instagram at JGTalk2. I'm also on Locals. I'm also on Rumble under the same name. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel and get yourself some merch. So, Trump, he said that Sloppy Joe's pardons are null and void. He said that Sloppy Joe signed those pardons with an auto-pen. I'd never heard of auto-pen in my life, but it is a real thing. I guess the first time that it was used by a president was in 2011 by Obama. He was overseas, but he wanted to sign some legislation. So he authorized an auto-pen signature on said legislation. Now, there's the key word, authorized. That means Obama was aware that his signature was being signed from afar. He had to give approval. Now, do you really think that happened with Sloppy Joe? Do you really think that he was coherent? And I will put a link to Trump's Truth Social post where he talks about this. He says, what does he call him, Sleepy Joe? He says Sleepy Joe wasn't even aware of this. He didn't even know what was going on, and I believe it. I don't believe it because Trump said it. I don't believe it because it came from his lips. I believe it because I saw Sloppy Joe. I saw that feeble fucker stumbling through his presidency, figuratively and literally. Remember? The steps, the bike, the sandbag on stage, you name it. Secret Service usually has to look for human threats. Sloppy Joe's Secret Service detail was looking for inanimate objects, trees, buildings, boxes, things that are below his sight line. What? Now, is there any legal precedent for Trump to undo this? No. Is there anything in the Constitution to undo these auto-pen signatures? No. But Trump even said it's up to the courts. Because that's like taking, let me tell you something. I'm trying to tell you a story. So we all got dope fiends in our family, right? Alcoholics, dope fiends, crack, heroin, methamphetamine, nowadays fentanyl. But I had a dope fiend in my family, and his mom was basically an invalid. She didn't talk anymore. She had assisted living. A nurse lived there with her and everything. She didn't talk or anything. Did I say that already? Anyway, she was an invalid. So this dope fiend, his drug of choice was heroin. So this motherfucker, I must have been 8 or 9 years old. And even at that age, I knew this is wrong. I don't know why it's wrong. I don't know how it's wrong. But this shit is wrong. So this motherfucker writes a check from her account for, I think it was like $400. And she obviously couldn't sign it. So he goes behind her, ghost style, Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore style on the clay machine. Goes behind her, takes her hand, and signs her signature at the bottom of the check so he could go cash it. Real live dope fiend shit. I think that's what they basically did with Sloppy Joe. You think he knew anything about January 6th or Fauci or General Milley? You think he knew anything about that? He couldn't get through a debate with Trump. He couldn't get through a sentence. And you mean to tell me he knows what he's signing? He knows what these auto-pen signatures are for? And if you're in the White House, you're there, you're on site, why do you need an auto-pen? Why don't you sign it yourself? Is he more far gone than we thought, that he can't even write his own signature? Why else would you need an auto pen? Like I said, Obama did it because he was overseas. Sloppy Joe was not overseas. He was in the White House. So why couldn't you sign that shit yourself? We know why. We know why he couldn't sign that shit himself, because his brain was turned off. His brain was turned into Quaker Oats, Quaker oatmeal. You might as well put some brown sugar and cinnamon in his fucking brain, because it was oatmeal. Sloppy Joe's days were filled with Werther's Original, butterscotch pudding, and Matlock. Oh, damn, speaking of Matlock. So I just did a video watching TV with my family last night, and two fucking AIDS medication commercials came on. But another commercial that came on that made me equally pissed was the new Matlock. Now, I have a soft spot in my heart for Matlock because that's one of the shows that my dad used to watch. R.I.P. Dad, give him the Sammy Sosa. So there's a new Perry Mason on, and I'm like, oh, shit. How are you going to take this childhood memory of mine and fuck it? Well, they figured it out. They got Kathy Bates. Now you say, Kathy Bates, what is she playing, somebody's grandma or something like that? No, Kathy Bates is Matlock. What? Raymond Burr, I know you're turning over in your grave right now. How the fuck do you take Matlock, a smooth, suave attorney at law, because Perry Mason was a shit. Dun, 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 dun. One of the coldest intros ever. A suit, this raven black hair. Come on. How do you turn Matlock into a fucking grandma? How do you turn Matlock into a 70-something-year-old lady? Nothing against old ladies. Love old ladies. Some of the kindest people in the world. And some of the meanest. Boy, an old lady can be fucking mean. I had a friend of mine, he said his grandma was full German and she hated the cats in the neighborhood. She would put nails in a 2x4 with the nails sticking out, put it on top of the fence so the cats couldn't sit there, and if she caught them in her yard, she would throw boiling hot water at them. Yeah. So old ladies can be super nice. Oh, come here, sonny. Or they can be psychopaths. Anyway, Kathy Bates is playing Matlock. And what was the guy's name? He had a sidekick. Can't remember his name. Blonde dude, equally suave, debonair. He was like his private investigator. He would go out and look for people, get information, do stakeouts, shit like that. Guess who they replaced him with? Huh? Now keep in mind, this guy is a blonde-haired white man. So in 2025, when they racially re-engineer this shit, classics, instead of coming up with their own shit, if he's a blonde white man, who do you think they replaced him with in the 2025 version? Yeah, you got it right. A black woman. I'm done. I'm fucking done. You took Perry Mason, that classic, wiped your ass with it, and now you're sticking it to the side of our face, and we're supposed to watch that shit. Anyway, a little rant had to go on. That shit pissed me off. But Sloppy Joe, Autopen, I believe it. I believe his whole presidency was Autopen. I believe that he was brain dead from day one. Day one. I believe that he wasn't running shit. I also believe, remember when Obama said, oh, that'd be great if I could have somebody else be president, and I was just like in an earpiece, and I told them what to say and what to do. That probably happened. Maybe not with an earpiece, but I'm sure Obama was running shit. Sloppy Joe was merely the figurehead. Will the courts take this on? I hope they do, because there were some major pardons. Fauci with the sweet and sour sniffles, that's enough. The sweet and sour sniffles scam and that fucking January 6th bullshit, which of course gave immunity to Liz Cheney and her father. When's the last time Dick Cheney was in government? Was he on the January 6th committee, or am I tripping? Why would you need to pardon Dick Cheney, who hasn't been in office in almost 20 years? I wonder. But I hope the courts do take this on. I hope that this shit gets overturned, because we all know that those pardons were straight up bullshit to cover their asses because they fucked over the American people. And if you could only pick one of those pardons to be undone, which one would it be? For me, it would be the sweet and sour sniffles. We'll be feeling the ramifications from that for decades to come. But that little rat-handed, beady-eyed little shit named Fauci, you need to pay the piper. Meet me in the comments. If you could pick one of those pardons to be overturned, which one would it be? Talk to me, Goose. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. I'm out.